watching Faith World TV. Faith World TV, changing the world with the Word of God.
Is that coming?
A very good afternoon, good morning, and good evening from wherever you're watching us. Yes, welcome to this brand new week, a brand new topic that you might be familiar with. Yes, we are back talking about Congo. And the question you were asking you, the viewers, today from whatever part of the world that you're watching us is, can Africans end the Congo crisis? Can Africans end the Congo crisis? And of course, the phone lines are open. If you do have time to give us a call, yes, the number is 0790-2239735. The number will be on the screen. But now I'm joined by two prominent African personalities who are also very passionate about what's happening in the Congo. And first, I will introduce somebody who is probably more familiar with Congo because she was born in Congo. Dr. Leticia Moshwe, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, Dr. Pauline. It's a pleasure to be back on the show again, once again discussing my very beloved DRC and how we can fix the situation over there. Because I have to admit, from before I was even born, there was turmoil. And
yes.
I'm still alive.
Fantastic, fantastic. And so now let us introduce also a friend of so many African countries, a political analyst, a governance analyst, who is also the convener of London Political Summit. He will have a host of knowledge of what's happening in the Congo, and of course, originally from Nigeria. As we are here to say that this is not just a Congo problem, it is an everybody's problem, and especially us Africans. I am Kenyan, and of course, Mazi Godson Azu from Nigeria. Welcome on the show.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure being here this afternoon, Dr. Pauline, to join you in this all-important African discourse. And it's my pleasure. Thank you very much, and my pleasure.
So, as always, you know, when you go to someone's house, you have to respect them. You know, you have to sit in the corner and you have to let them show you where to sit. Now, on this table, I see Dr. Leticia as the owner of the house because you are from Congo and we're talking about Congo. Now, I'm going to start with you. A lot of Congolese that I know have always pushed the end of this crisis. And they haven't had a lot of Africans, you know, different 53 African countries supporting and, you know, helping them to end this crisis. Now, today we're coming on this table to ask Africans, can we collectively end this crisis? What do you think as a Congolese born?
Well, to be fair, Professor Pauline, I would say together collectively we can be a force to be reckoned with. We may not have the nuclear weapons that some other nations have, at least not to the extent that they have it, but I do know that Africa in itself currently feeds the world. And even just the land of the DRC alone is able to feed 2 billion people. We have capacity to do that. And Africa, I think it's fair to say we have about 2 billion, probably possibly more. But we have so much power in that one land. Now imagine if the whole of Africa was to come together and say, let us put our heads together and actually sort out this issue. Yes, there might be sanctions from other nations, but we can handle that because the total gross debt that Africa has is about 9% compared to the Western world. So even if they cut off those sanctions, we can still survive and trade within ourselves and rebuild Africa. Currently, the Congo's waters are supplying a lot of electricity to its neighbours, surprisingly, because Congo itself.
Neighboring country?
Well, several
Rwanda?
neighboring countries. Yeah, Rwanda, Uganda as well.
Kenya,
Tanzania too. Yeah, so we're supplying electricity from our waters to all these countries, and there's still so much more capacity.
Right.
So if we can do that and come together and fix the DRC, because essentially most of the minerals and resources that Africa has sits in the DRC. Right. If we can fix that, we are already 60% on the way to fixing Africa.
So you're saying that every African country is capable of coming together to fix what's happening in DRC. And so what is stopping us?
Division. We are far too divided.
Right.
And we have to first look at why are we divided, first and foremost. Because you see, when you see the other world wars, the Second World War, the First World War, and when you look at other nations as well that were going through wars and stuff, they had the Americans support them. They actually send their troops, their army that go in and fight for them. And we can say we need support. I don't want to say international support because I want to consider Africa in itself as one nation.
Why would you say that?
Well, we have to learn from the past. When we trusted, Africans, we can be very hospitable, right? We trusted them over and over again. And when you look at the realities of what's happening right now, it's almost as if we're being recolonized, but strategically.
That's interesting.
Very big allegation.
Mazi, Godson Azu, what do you think? Can Africans come together and end this?
In as much as I do want to say I kind of agree with what Dr. Leticia says, but at the same time, I think the biggest problem of Africa is the lack of understanding. We are highly disconnected from our historic contestations. We tend to read our African meaning from the European perspectives rather than reading the African sensation from the African mind's perspective. And while we are continuously advocating for the possibility of an Africa by African, is to kind of reinvigorate and re-amplify the spirit of Pan-Africanism.
Right.
It takes an African to solve an African problem. And that is where we're going about. We don't want a situation whereby African leaders are looking onto the European nations to solve their problem, because obviously the European nations are very much key to neocolonialism through mineral exploitation and human conditionality, which is why our leaders are subjecting themselves to the European rules and regulations and the conditions in terms of our bilateral or multilateral arrangements. The Africans are always seeing themselves at the table of discussion as the junior discussants rather than partners. Partners at the table of discussion, and that is why we are losing out. It's very important for us, especially those of us who are in the diaspora, which is why I said it will take Africans to solve African problem. There are a huge number of African diasporans who have gained so much knowledge and have been able to diversify or kind of disoriented the narratives being created by the European writers and the European historians and European archaeologists or whatsoever about Africa, and have been able to kind of fix in the jigsaw of an African perspective of what Africa is and who Africa is and what Africa means to the rest of the world. And all we need now is to bring ourselves together as Africans in the diaspora to challenge this ugly situation that's going on in Africa. And I would say that our leaders are very, how would I put it there? Our leaders are part of the crimes of Africa at the moment, because if we look at what is happening in Congo, for me and for a few of some of us here in the diaspora, the role of Paul Kagame in this whole perspective is very, very suspicious. And we want to say to the likes of Paul Kagame to realize that whatever he is trying to do in order to please the European bodies that are kind of giving him the backings to act in the way he's acting, he will never be in the same equilibrium with the Europeans in every sense.
Let me not cut you, but I will cut you off there. Just to quickly ask, I'm getting two things from what you're saying, which is the two things commonly that we Africans we do and say, and for that I don't know how we're going to move forward. The fact that you're blaming the government and African leaders without actually blaming them, but that's what you're doing. Yeah. So for this, you're blaming
essentially
African leaders for this crisis.
I am actually putting most of the blames on the African leaders because they are the one propagating the interests of the Europeans in Africa, because they are the one that are projecting they are the one projecting the agendas of the Europeans in Africa. So
hi.
Hello, good evening.
Can you make sure you're in a quiet place? Hi, welcome on the show.
Okay.
We're talking about...
Thank you. My name is...
Go on.
Okay. I know the topic we are talking about. I think my name is Blessy. Your daughter calling from Nigeria. I'm saying, Mazi is right 100%. Our African leaders, they depend too much on the Western world for every little solution. If we can come together as Africa, that Congo issue, it can easily come to an end. But right now, we are all defending our leaders. And should I say they don't care about the citizens? They actually just looking out for what the West African leaders can bring, the solutions they can bring. And they don't care if the solution is going to be right or it's going to be the right one or the wrong one. And most times, the European leaders, they tend to give solutions that is going to benefit them on the long run as well. So if you look at it in another way, they actually don't have our interest in us.
Okay.
Hello?
So, Blessing,
Yes.
what you're saying right now is what I was just telling off Mazi, Godson Azu here, that this is the common thing that we do. We blame our leaders. Everything we blame our leaders.
Yeah, and I think it's wrong to blame them directly, because we have to also understand they come first with the intention to do the right things, but then they find pressures and blocks that block them. Once they get into that position, they realize that there are powers above them that are trying to hold them down, and their intentionality is to not let Africa rise. So when you do see a leader that wants to make change in their country or for the African nations, then those other forces come and put pressure on them. So they're stuck between a hard place and a rock.
Right. I think we do have another caller. Please, you need to turn your volume down.
Into being corrupt.
Turn your volume down before you join us, please. Turn your volume down before you join us.
I do tend to kind of disagree on that point. Like I said, our leaders are the projector of the interests of the governance of each country in Africa.
Let's pick up this call. Hello, welcome to the show. Okay. Anybody that's watching, please, if you want to join us in the studio, you must turn your device volume down and join us, because we are getting feedback. This is a hot topic that, everybody, it seems that what you said, Azu, and what I said is triggering this conversation. So we have to stop blaming.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, welcome on the show.
Okay.
Hi, we're talking about, Africans uniting to end the Congo crisis. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Don Pedro Okoje. I'm calling from London.
Oh, Don Pedro Okoje calling from London. Hi, welcome on the show. What do you think about, this subject we're talking about and what the panel is discussing here?
Well, my sister there, who is from DR, I've heard her opening points, and I would like to say that it's not as easy as she says it is. It cannot work that way at all. And Azu is talking about Africans coming together and sorting out the solution, Africa for Africa. That's a good one, but it's still not a solution. Let us point ourselves to what Traore is doing in Burkina Faso. In our very eyes, a young man came, of course it was risky to take over power, but he did. But he didn't only take over power, he shows and is showing how power can be used for the people. The implementations of the agricultural project this young man is doing, not behind doors, but it's everywhere. It's on the internet everywhere. You can find it everywhere. You know, and also he is saying that there must be an African solution to the democratic ways of Africa. That the democracy we inherited, that we practice, is the reason why our corruption is so high. The DRC is full of terrible corruption of the normal African structure. The so-called leaders or commanders of all those militias or whatever they call, they're greedy, all of them, all greedy guys.
Right.
You're looking after their pockets. You're looking after their welfare. And they're buying houses or whatever abroad. So until one radical among them who really loves DRC can wipe all those idiots out of there and copy what Sankara did before he was betrayed and now Traore has continued in a better form, the peace cannot reign in DRC. Paul Kagame cannot be taken out of the picture. Paul Kagame, you cannot say Paul Kagame that he did the one in DRC. No. Because he's a neighbor. He has to look after his boundary too. Because don't forget, the poor people who are running away from the war.
Rwanda's the one that's coming into the Congo. Nobody's coming to cause.
Wait, Don, I think
Don.
Dr. Leticia has something to say to you. What did you say, Dr. Leticia?
Because he said that Rwanda, Kagame's got to protect his borders too. Yes, that's correct. But currently it's actually Rwanda that's coming into the Congo and causing unrest. Congo is not invading Rwanda. Rwanda's invading the Congo. So it's him that's asking for the war. But going back to what you're saying, it is indeed, we do need to look at our leaders, but we also need to have some empathy towards them as well and understand that it can't be easy from picking up from where there's been decades and decades of mess and corruption, and then you have to come in your 4-year mandate, your 5-year mandate, and fix all of that. How can you do that?
Yeah, I think if I may come in here, I think the fact that one thing that Dr. Okoje have just mentioned here that's kind of triggered my major concern with regards to what I call the Africa for African by Africans or the Pan-Africans agenda is exactly what is happening in the Sahel, some of the Francophone countries. You see the agenda of the new Francophone countries in Africa today. They are propagating what I think to call the Africa by Africans. They are telling the French people, we have had enough of your militarization, we have had enough of your currency colonialization, we have had enough of your mineral resources, neo-colonialization. Now we want to deal with our things ourselves. We want to change the narrative to African narrative. We don't want to believe that we are subjective to the French people because they brought some light to Africa or to French Africa, and so we become a subject to them forever. No, it cannot be forever. And so that is what I call a regeneration of an African leader in the interest of the Africans. So we can still get our leaders are the major problem, because if you don't elect leaders to lead you domestically alone, you elect leaders to lead you domestically and internationally. They should represent the good interests of your country to the wider community. And so that is why you look at Donald Trump. Every time he speaks from 2016 to date, it's about America. He says America first. So Africans should begin to project the interests of their country. It is Congo first. If the Congo president knows that Congo today has the largest land mass, DRC has the largest land mass in the whole of Africa, if not even in the whole of the world, after Russia. Congo has the largest mineral resources in numbers, and one of the mineral resources that can make this earth survive for the next millennium. It's in Congo. But if the leaders realize they have the power, it's like I said earlier on, when we go to the table of diplomacy, when we go to the table of discussion and engagement and negotiation, Africans see themselves as the junior brother on the table. And that is why they don't get the best deal. They don't get the best outcome of their bilateral relationship and bilateral engagement with other countries, because they always feel that, if we don't do this, we will... Look at what Donald Trump is doing with AIDS. I think it's
important we put structures in first, because at the moment to just say we're cutting off.
Let me pick this call. But while I'm picking this call, hello. You need to turn your volume down and join us. Welcome on the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello.
Hello. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello. Chike is my name. And I'm in Nigeria, and I'm calling from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
Oh, Chike, welcome back. Yes, I think we had you last week on the Congo show. You're very passionate about this topic. Thank you. So we're talking about, uniting.
I'm Chike. Yeah. I'm Chike, and Mr. Chike, I'm calling from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
Welcome to the show, but you need to turn your volume down. Okay, he's gonna have to please turn your volume down. Okay. Now, like what I'm trying to establish for me here today is was the question: can we all end the Congo crisis?
We can.
Yes, number one. Yes or no?
Of course we can.
Of course we can.
Yes,
but we need to put the structures in before we start.
We are blaming the government.
That's where it starts. That's where it starts. We have to look at.
Now the fact is that he doesn't want to blame the leaders. Which is where we disagree. Disagree. I want to blame the leaders.
Okay, we have Chike, we have you back. Welcome on the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Pauline. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes.
Can you hear? Okay. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Chike, we can hear you. We can hear you. Please turn your volume down and join us. Turn your volume down.
I think the noise is about you guys. It's very quiet here.
Okay. So join us then.
Yeah. Okay. I have followed the conversation, and if Africans, there's no noise here. There's no noise here.
Okay.
It's very quiet.
Have you got your device on? Are you watching it?
Check your phone. One of your phone is making noise. One of your phone is.
If you have the device on, please.
Well, I think it's gone.
Do please, if you have your device on, lower the volume, or please actually turn it off and then join us.
Say what I need to say.
Okay. Probably Fatima Lucky. Hello.
Yes, of course, I'm watching it.
Okay.
Hello?
Chike,
can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Now, share your view.
Okay. Yes. I begin by saying the way the French will say, Afrique, c'est pour les Africains. Okay. Africa is for Africans. And that does not mean that we don't welcome a third party. But a third party is subjected, or his actions goes based on our way of welcoming him. I give you this example. The other time I said, I used apartheid. We were together. And we spoke with one voice. We demonstrated that, look, once it's in South Africa, it is in Africa. The presidents of South Africa were harbored in Nigeria. There were donations. Musicians from all over Africa were singing Free Mandela. That was one voice.
I
We
want to
showed that we are
disagree with
out
what
to
you're
solve
saying.
our problem. We understood that it is our place, our problem.
Chike, I want to disagree with what you're saying.
Let me use Kenya as a study case for this.
Can you hear me?
I want to explain that the issue is about us. We uniting.
Chike, if you can hear me, can you hear? Dr. Leticia here is disagreeing. I don't know whether she wants to disagree.
One thing you just said, you said if it's in South Africa, it's in Africa. Let me tell you something. I come from a pharmaceutical background. And before you can ship any pharmaceutical product from the UK into Africa, you have to go through the French government, you have to go through the Belgian government. But South Africa has manufacturing sites over there. Why do they not get those medication into those countries? We first have to go through the governments in Europe before we can get it over there. So South Africa is great in what it does, but we have to remember that it's like a little area of its own. It's a zone of its own, and it doesn't necessarily help the rest of Africa.
Last time, Chike, Dr. Leticia was triggered when you mentioned South Africa. Maybe you can give another example. What do you think?
Let me use Kenya.
Okay.
For
example, you agree with Kenya?
In 2008, 2007, thereabout.
Right.
They had an election in Kenya, and things turned out not as expected. We saw brothers going against each other, fighting and all that. We saw that on TV. In 2024. We saw the same Kenyans, the same brothers and sisters who went against each other, speaking with one voice, holding the street of Nairobi at ransom. Why? Because they have come to realize that it is us, it is our country, and we need to hold them accountable. And the parliament was dissolved.
Okay.
Why can't DRC see that? This is a recent example. So let's leave South Africa by the side. Kenya, in 2007, 2008, are thereabouts. And you see, the same people that went against each other, the citizens, you see them in 2024, they came out with one voice, they united. They realized that accountability, we now must understand that it is us.
Okay, so
if you know you are going into that office, if you know you are going into that office, and you are going to meet one giant in the name of a third party who come and tell you don't do anything for your citizens, step down.
Okay, in other words, Chike, you're saying that Kenyans realize that don't just be blaming the government. It's us. We have to take responsibility. This is what I'm trying to say.
As the individuals within the country, not the leaders in the country.
It has to begin with us.
The citizens.
Right.
Hello?
You know, the citizens decide that this is our country.
Trust me, Dr. Pauline.
I don't have a problem with South Africa. But even MPs consider them international flights.
The Kenyans, the Luo, the Kikuyus, the Kalajis, all they are united. And the parliament was dissolved.
In as much as I want to agree with Chike on that point, the issue here, and why I said, I am not against the fact that it will take, when I say Africa by Africans, it doesn't mean that we are depending on the leaders to change the narratives. What we are saying is that the situation we are facing today, in the last 10 or in the last 4 decades of African decolonization, is the leaders who have taken over responsibility of running the countries. But then for things to change, the citizens have to rise. Why we have changes? Why we have hold on. Why we have the changes? Why we have the changes in Kenya? You remember the 2007-2008 elections in Kenya that brought in Kenyatta and caused a rift between Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. You understand? With thousands of lives lost. Remember, it took them in 2008, 2009 to have what was called the handshake across the shoulder between two brothers whose families have run Kenya for over 40 years to say, let's bring an end to this conflict. It took the leaders. to understand that the people say it is enough is enough. Until the leader, look, Paul Kagame has been in power now for almost 10, 15 years in Rwanda. It will take the Rwandan people across the border, both sides, to say, look, Paul, this thing you are doing is enough. We had enough of this.
But do you think the people haven't tried?
Well, it's not about trying. It's not about trying.
They get shot.
It's not about trying.
Their own government will shut them down. They tried. Their own government will start spraying gas on them.
You see why I say Nigeria, like for instance, why I say, for instance, Nigerians that demonstrate for change in Nigeria are not prepared. No change comes without. No change comes without a sacrifice. You have to sacrifice for a change to happen.
We have a caller.
This is Eugene, the artist. I just wanted to add my 2 cents.
Oh, Eugene is an artist, and he uses his art as well to promote, humanity and crises like this. Originally, Eugene, you're from Ghana, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, okay. Excuse us for we are raising our tones a little bit because we are passionate here. So,
of course, it's a passionate topic. I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. So, how can we Africans end this crisis going on in Congo? What do you think?
Dr. Pauline, just following on from some of the points that were just made, say 1-2 minutes ago, which I love, especially with the Kenyan example. I think at the end of the day. We have been talking about our leaders for decades, and we know, as the doctor said, that there's a lot of pressure on them, and perhaps, there are things being pulled behind the scenes which we do not understand or do not see, as citizens. But I think, when it's all said and done, no doubt that there are faults, and that we can say a lot of things against them. But bringing it back to what was said again 1-2 minutes ago, we shouldn't forget that the presidents are there to serve the people. Right. And if the people can come together and decide that this is what we want, and when I say the people, I mean from Ghana, from Nigeria, from Togo, it doesn't matter where they're from. If we can come together, we have to come together and create forums. Let's infect our positivity, into these countries. Right. Let's march together. If we can do this, I think we have a great chance of really affecting everything that comes out, the final outcome. Mm-hmm. And I say this because we can sit back and blame the president, it's a way of looking back and causing blame, but it doesn't move things forward. Right. And I think on a practical level, if we can find, grassroots organizations...
Now move away from blaming the president. We must move away from it.
The thing is, do you think that the presidents don't see what the people are going through? Do you think that they don't watch?
I do disagree with that.
TV and the news?
I do disagree with that from the point of diplomatic engagement. And the diplomacy, everybody will not be on the table of discussion. The diplomacy is the leaders that are on the table of discussions. And some of these leaders do not have the absolute interest of the citizens of the countries they are representing at this table of discussion. And so we have now the collective of leaders from the South African Development Organization, which include South Africa, Kenya, and the SADC. Yeah. They're having meetings for the last 2 weeks. Right. But the citizens are not there. It's the leaders. And when they are there discussing the interests of their country, they are looking at it from the perspective of their individual protection. And they are looking at it from the point of view that whatever they say, whatever they do, what is going to be the reaction of the European leaders, the European countries that they are subject to. So what you are saying now is the leaders need to understand. We don't need to look. Let me tell you. Let me tell you this. Yes. Yeah. Why is China taking advantage of Africa? It's because Africans have no direct foreign policy agenda against China, and China is taking advantage of that to walk into Africa and walk away with whatever they want. So African leaders need to know that their people has elected them to lead them. And if they cannot do the right thing, the people can take them out. And if they're not representing their people very well, it is left for the people in Africa. Just like what is happening in the Sahel. in the Sahel region with these francophone countries. It took the people to go on the streets daily, and that's why I say that the countries where the citizens are not ready to pump out of the street. You come to Europe here, before anything changes in Europe here, people demonstrate day in and out, non-stop.
I'm glad you're saying that the people need to come out on the streets, but if we can separate, because the thing about blaming leaders is not working anymore. That's what Eugene is saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I think even Chike said. That's what you're saying as well. It's blaming the leader does not work anymore.
No, I agree. Look, the reason why Senegal is changing today is because those young boys failed, the leaders of the past failed them, and they took over and are changing things. Why we're having challenging dimensions in Mali and Burkina Faso is because those who came in now felt the leaders have failed them. So, and you can only make a change when the leaders have failed you completely. If the leaders are doing what everybody feels okay with, you leave the leaders there. But if the leaders are doing something that no majority says is not right, you take the leaders out. Okay. You take the leaders out.
Well, I do agree with that, taking the leaders out. But what I'm trying to say is that there has to be a different, not a different tone, a different angle. We know that us being on this panel or being on other panels, always crying about this leader this, that leader that leader that, it's not working. But we know what they're doing wrong. But we are the majority. The leaders are the minority. Why can't we step up and do what we can do as, as citizens?
That's the thing. That's what I'm saying here. Even when a leader has good intentions, when they get there, they realize that they are
what do you want to say before I let you go?
And it's not as easy, and then we start blaming
them. When it's all gathered and said and done, I think we are all heading in a certain direction, which is we, the people, need to do something about this.
Right.
And just to raise one quick point straight away, even the European influences in these countries, Congo, wherever it might be, I think, again, these people are there to serve the people. So really, when you think about it, it's about the people coming together. And if they come together with a solid plan to move forward, like I mentioned earlier, we the ones in Europe.
By Africans, it doesn't really need the leaders in Africa to lead the way. What it means is you identify a problem and you find solution to it.
Yes.
Who are the problem of Africa? Is it the leaders or the people? If we identify these problems, we now find solutions. The solution is now how do we mobilize? Even leaders within Africa, and not only the president, even leaders of diaspora organizations, leaders of diaspora organizations have problems within themselves. Leaders of diaspora organizations have problems with themselves.
But
organizing themselves for the purpose.
With you is you're always blaming the leaders, the majority. The minority.
Because
what is the majority doing? Why are we not voter educated? Why are we not educated about our countries? Why are we not educated?
That's the thing that's what I'm pointing out. Because the people are not empowered, and who can ensure to empower the people is from the leadership. What are you putting in place that actually helps your people to become more knowledgeable, to be connected to the wider world? The internet in the Congo is disgustingly bad, right? And people are unable to have access to educational materials that they can actually help themselves with. So the lack of knowledge and understanding that they have doesn't allow them to know that, yes, we can actually push for more. So we have to know how can we empower our people.
If you demand the people's reaction, you might as well.
Can you hear me? Yes, Chike is back.
Hello?
Okay.
You might as well have it as leaderless.
One second. Yes, we can hear you, but 1 second. Let's Mazi
we might as well seek for a leaderless movement.
I want my brother.
But then that's leaderless movement. You need order. We'll be all over the place.
I want my brothers and sisters to understand that discipline plays a major role between our goals and in winning them, while information remains a golden difference between success and failure. Now, when I talk about this, I mean perception. How do we receive their response to our reaction? And how do we digest it? Because let's not forget that fear is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Of course, they will sell it to us. Are we buying into it? If we are buying into it, why should we forget?
Who is they?
Why should we forget
Who is they?
The third party, because the third party,
The no-name
you know, the third party, yes, of course, they will sell fear through our leaders to us, of course. But why should we forget? I remember Dr. Leticia was saying last week that Gaddafi was killed, blah, 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 blah. Yes, the tree of politics, my dear sister, can only be watered by blood. The killing of whoever does not stop the movement.
Revolution without bloodshed.
See, the only way I can get into a house, for example, a house of four, 2 kids and daddy and mommy, if I want to steal from their kitchen, my best card would be to sow a seed of disunity in their living room. To leave them when they take up fight against each other, I will finish off the kitchen. There are families that will continue to fight like that. And there are families that will say, hold on.
So Chike, we've now moved from blaming the government to blaming the third party.
It is no. We
Right?
are keep saying third party will do what third party is supposed to say. They will do what they are supposed to do to get what they want. See, the world can call you what they want, but it's up to you to choose what to answer. Now, this is where Africans comes in. Us, the citizens. The third party will play a beautiful card.
How do you suggest we eliminate the third party? Is that a suggestion or?
He will do whatever he wants.
Chike have just reiterated. Chike has just reiterated.
Now it's about us.
Chike has just reiterated what I have been preaching and what a lot of people have been preaching in Africa and why Africa is where it is today. And I keep saying it that like Chike said, the third party have a huge interest in Africa, and it has been going for hundreds of years. And Africans by now, from 1960, 1959, 1954 to date, when the first African country got independence, to date, they should have learned a huge, enormous lessons from how to deal.
They were left in trauma.
Let's forget about. Let's live about the trauma. The trauma is not. Let's live about the trauma. The fact is that we learn wrong way. And like Chike said, information. They said if you are informed, you are reformed. If you are not informed, you are deformed. So information is very vital, and it's what Chike is trying to mention. And I want to agree in that point. You see, the Europeans have done what they did, and they continue to do. The Chinese have learned a lot. The Chinese have learned a lot on how the European has exploited Africa for over 100 years. And they have come with a different dimension to exploit Africa from the Asian point of view, an Asian point of knowledge. And which is why they borrow us, they give us money, and then we give
someone to leave.
Why are you going to the discussion of table? Why are you going?
If you're saying that this is about the people and not the leaders, then we need order. If it's just the people, everyone has different views.
You see, Donald Trump said that he's cutting African AIDS. Some citizens in Africa, even in South Africa, some people in South Africa where it is being where the effect is enormous, are saying, please cut everything. Don't even give us anything anymore. Don't give us anything anymore.
Yeah.
You understand? This is Africa now. This is how it starts. This is how it starts. When we say, okay, you know what?
Enough is enough.
EU, we don't need your money anymore. America, we don't need your. China, keep your money.
Okay, who do you expect to say that? The leaders to tell them?
The citizens are saying it already.
But the thing is, they feel tied down. Look, we're even agreeing. They feel tied down because of their fear of, we're going to be sanctioned. Right. But we have less debt across the world than they do. That's what I'm saying. So if we can say no more to their pretend help, then we can fix ourselves and trade within ourselves.
Let's make peace. Let's stop deceiving ourselves.
Yes.
Paul Kagame and Rwanda trying to say they are protecting the Tutsi people in Congo. It's a lie. It's a big lie. They are all sourcing. They are instruments. They are instruments used by the third party to source the mineral resources. Look, the highest valued mineral resources that can keep the world moving in the age of digitalization is in Congo. It's in Congo. Yes. And if Africa knows the value of what they have, they will not allow the third party to be using even within themselves. Which is what Chike said, that when you want to steal in a family's kitchen, you need to disrupt the family, and then you have somebody to give you access to.
I want to ask a simple question. Yeah, we as African citizens, whether in the diaspora, whether in Africa, what is it that we can do to unite all of us to end this crisis in Congo?
Stop thinking that we need the outside world.
I would have set the question as, what can African leaders end the Congo crisis? But I was very specific. I said, can Africans end the Congo crisis? And here, this is what I'm saying. Why are you mentioning the leaders? I want to know, what you, Azu, as African from Nigeria, what can you do for my sister in Congo? Me, as African from Kenya, what can I do for them in Congo? The caller from Ghana, what can they do? The one from Malaysia, what can they do? Without telling me, oh, let's get all the African leaders. This is not working. It's never worked.
No, you see, let me tell you. Let me tell you one thing. We cannot. You're talking about globalization. You're talking about governance. You're talking about diplomacy.
Yes.
And we're talking about radicalization of revolutionary movement. When you bring this, you need to bring these two together to bring a change. You get me? What I'm trying to say here is this. Africans in the diaspora, Africans back home, need to call their, because the leaders are the ones that goes to have these meetings with these third parties. And when they go there with the fear of the third party, without the leverage of the citizens they are leading, they go there and answer yes, yes, and come back. But when they know that their citizens, when they go and answer yes and come back home, their citizen will leech them. They will do the right thing. So we need Africans here to begin to, like what is happening now. If I'm from Nigeria, I need to be part of those who are calling President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to do the right thing. Yeah, they are going for AU meeting this week. Mr. President Bola Tinubu, when you go there, please, we want a radical expression. We want you to speak truth to power to Paul Kagame and the Rwandan people and the president of Democratic Republic of Congo, saying, we give you ultimatum. This war must end. We have done it before. We did it in Liberia. We did it in Sierra Leone. And they ended the war. And peace reigned. So we need citizens to tell their leaders, look, we need Kenyans to tell the president of Ruto, when you go to this meeting in AU, we want to hear a radical message from you to your fellow president to say, you guys must end this war or we all will rise against Congo and Rwanda. The rest of Africa will rise. We don't need Europeans to fight for us. The whole of Africa can rise. We did it in South Africa against apartheid fell. We did it against Liberia fell. We did it against Sierra Leone fell. We did it against Gambia fell. So there is nowhere if we rise collectively without a hidden European agenda or American agenda or Chinese agenda behind the leader's expression, we will rise against Rwanda, and Rwanda will be succumb, and they will stop this war.
We need to hit them where it hurts. We are in the age of AI, the age of the digital world, right? And we know that all of that stuff needs the Congo's land. If we strengthen our security and say no more, and we boycott these phones, these iPhones, Africa has enough intelligence to create its own phones. Africa has enough intelligence to create its own cars.
Obviously.
So if we boycott them, what will Rwanda then start selling off to the European world? He can't sell anything. He can't get them. The people in Africa don't want it. The people in Africa say no more. We've strengthened our security. And then we are now enclosed.
Africans need to come out and own.
That needs to go from door
This
to
is
door.
part of the education. As this program is being done, spread it out. Africans need to own their own. We need to own Africa as our own. The knowledge of this world emanated from Africa. If Egypt is part of Africa, then the knowledge of the world, the knowledge that the world is building upon to change the critical issues of the world issues emanated from Egypt. And Egypt is in Africa. The mineral resources that the world needs, including China, America, and Japan, and whatever, is in Africa. From Congo to Nigeria, the minerals is there. What we have the best knowledge people. Africans have about 10, 15, or 20 experts at the space center, NASA. in
Why don't
the
they come
US.
back to Africa?
We can bring them back home. Africans have the best brains in most of the universities around the world, from Harvard to Cambridge to Oxford to wherever, to Yale. We have them, bring them home. Just like what India did to bring almost Indian intelligent people back to India to create the Silicon Valley in Bombay. They will agree. We need to persuade them. We need to persuade them.
We need to give them a grant or something.
We need to give them the enabling environment to come back home and do the radical change.
Do
you know? No, he's
I am ready. I am always there. I am ready.
Do you know it makes me sad, specifically because when I see a cousin of mine in the Congo asking me, can you send me an iPhone? Your person just died on that bloody mine for nothing, and then you want to pay £1,000 for bloody iPhone that your cousin just died for. This is why we need to strengthen our borders and say no more, because the world needs our land. I
want to tell the world something. I was at a meeting a few days ago, last week, and I mentioned the issue of Congo, and the
meeting with which people?
It was a meeting at the Institute of Directors. In the Institute of Directors,
so
and space mining.
Right.
There is an idea going on now to exploit the body of the universe, the planetary bodies, to find where alternative mineral, space organic minerals that can replace what we are finding in Congo. What we are looking for in Congo.
So they haven't finished.
So the fact is that if Africans do not take their rightful place in protecting what it is their own,
they want an alien war.
The third party will ensure that Africans will fight themselves and kill themselves, and when they are finished killing and destroying themselves, the third party, the Europeans, the Americans, the Japanese, as they are making explorations and looking for new
other places.
So
they're going to leave Africa.
They will leave you to and they will go out. They will be going to the earth. So the likes of Elon Musk and the rest of them, they are already having alternative ideas.
People are already buying land.
They are planning 1,000 years ahead of most of us who are here. So they know that if they say don't come to Congo again, they take a spaceship and go to somewhere in the moon, in Mars, in Jupiter, in Neptune, and then they mine these minerals and send it to the earth. And even they are planning to even build industries and factories in the moon to produce this and bring to the earth.
We'll be fighting aliens.
So you see, when we are not aware, we die in ignorance. When we are aware, we begin to build defenses.
But now, do you, Mazi, Godson Azu, and Dr. Leticia, now, do you realize why I asked the question, can Africans end the crisis in Congo? And why I did not say, can African leaders? Do you now realize why I said that?
Which is quite symbolic, because when you say Africans, it includes everybody, including the leaders.
It's our responsibility.
So, it's a germane question that we all need to answer, and it's a germane question that we all need to participate in, both from the diaspora point of view and from the homeland point of view. If we do not organize ourselves, whether with a significant symbol leader or on a platform of everyone go out there and make your case, Africa will remain a subject matter to the command and control of the European and the American and the Chinese order, which we are going to be the junior partners. And it's
Africans. We need to take care of our region.
So the world is evolving into a multipolar system. This multipolar system now is America, Europe, and China. Where is Africa? I keep asking the Africa.
And we're the most important continent.
Where is Africa? Africa is not included in this. Africa is not included in this multipolar system because they know Africa is an aligning continent. They have to align. Africa will align with America or they align with Europe.
But I think on that note, it is time for us not to align. it is time for us to be at the front of the line. I don't know whether you
Take up
understand what I'm
space.
saying. We
Stand
need to
up.
take up space.
We
guys.
need to be. We
This
need
has
to
been-
be an equal
Yes.
big brother in the big
Africa
brother
is
room.
the future, and the world needs to know it. By fire, by force, we claim
Africa
our
needs to
land.
be the equal big brother in the big brother room.
Now,
Or else,
By
guys,
fire, by force.
we
Thank
are
you.
going to lose out. We continue to lose out. We continue to shed blood for what does not really make human sense
Absolutely.
in whatever we are looking
So
for.
thank
as
you
people
so
on
much. I want to say thank you to everybody that made the call. We do appreciate, this topic. We are going to revisit it until we all own Africa, because Africa belongs to you and I. Africa belongs to everybody. Africa is everybody's future. Thank you so much, Dr. Leticia and Mazi.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you, it's my pleasure.
And
See you
until
some
next
other
time, guys, keep it safe and think about Congo. God bless you.
God bless you,
God
everyone.
bless you.
You are watching Faith World TV. Faith World TV, changing the world with the Word of God.